Welcome to the Heka Codes. Well, I am so excited to have you here because now I get to share a little bit more of what it feels like when you receive the Egyptian magic, when you are consciously creating. So let's break that down a little bit. What is Heka all about? What does it mean? So Heka is the Egyptian god of magic and medicine. And that is what this offering is all about. In fact, that is what our lives are about. And what I mean about that is that we are all conscious creators, okay? And when I speak about conscious creators, I am talking about manifesting things in your life, which are really, really high vibe, heart's desires, if you will. We're manifesting that from the highest vibration and we're bringing it into physical form. Now, over the times, we've kind of like disbelieved that and thought, well, we can't do that. We just basically get force fed by life and it's a little bit dull. But I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Don't believe the hype. We are here to be conscious creators. We are master manifestors. As a human race and a light being in a human body, okay, we're master manifestors, we're creators. That's our most natural ability. So when it's blocked and we're not utilizing and flowing with it, we're not very happy. Things can slide in like depression, lack of joy. And it really, really is due to the fact that you are not creating because you've just, I think, maybe aligned with being force-fed what life is all about instead of going out there and going, hang on a minute, I am the creator of this experience. Let me tap into that Heka, that magic that the ancient Egyptians did. The ancient Egyptians worked with the Heka magic when they made food, when they grew their crops, when they walked from one place to another and they traveled, in absolutely everything. It was present in all that they did. It was just a household thing. But we have since forgotten that. And we are now moving into a timeline with all the high vibration. It's kind of like landing now. We are going through such a massive shift in humanity that now we are realizing and really, really like understanding that the truth, the real truth is that we are a conscious creator and we do have very, very unique special gifts and abilities within us that we have not utilized yet to actually create that life that you really, really want. And whether that is creating a project, an idea, a business, or anything at all, which is in alignment with what your mission and purpose is, with what you've come here to do. So it's all about this whole offering, which you are going to experience with the Heka codes. It's about unlocking that divine wisdom and understanding it so you can apply it in a physical way. What does your heart's desire? What does the idea? What does the project look like in physical form? And then we go ahead and create that. Because with star seeds, what we tend to do is we tend to kind of get stuck in the ethers a little bit and we're circling to land and we can't quite ground the idea. And then what happens is we kind of get despondent and disillusioned, and then we just continue the cycle, just circling up here. But it is safe for us to land now. This is all about coming into the physical earth plane, like really, really seeing your magic in flow and in action. Actually, action is a really good word, of landing and creating what you've actually come here to do. And that's the whole thing. We have lots of ideas, do we not? But there is one particular idea that you signed up for to bring through in this incarnation, like this one thing. So we've got to find out what that is. And that is where I came up with the Heka codes, or rather they came up with me, So that's like what I'm going to be sharing with you in this offering. So giving you a little bit of a backstory about my journey into my path to empowerment, if you like, my path to purpose. I started to go to Egypt. I mean, I've been on my path for many, many years, but I started to go to Egypt in 2018. It wasn't even a massive calling. I just thought, yeah, I'd like to go. Well, I went. And my experience with Egypt, when I put my feet on the soil, I just got activated, but not in a good way. And I was shown how very little I thought of myself. Inadequacy, self-doubt, all of these things just ripped through my system. And it was a really intense trip because of that. So I returned home and I thought to myself, well, you know what? I'm not going to have that. I'm not going to have that as my story. Why was that so intense? What was that all about? So I started to unpack it. And then I went back to Egypt again and again and again to unpack the story, to understand what it is that I've come here to do, because it's not to be inadequate. Oh, absolutely not. It is something, there's something else underneath that. That is just your shadow. That is just stuff that needs to be cleared so that you can have this great reveal of the true you. So I kept going back to Egypt and I kept receiving activation after activation. And essentially, in a very small nutshell, I got brought into my leadership skills. I got activated with certain gifts, skills, and abilities that only Egypt could actually do for me. And the reason that happened is because Egypt was very, very specific in my signature frequency. I had left codes there. Codes is information. I had left information there in the temples, on the ground, within the people, for me to go back and collect. And when you have that connection and you go back to the temples, like this one here, this one is Hathor's temple, I would brush my fingers down the hieroglyphs. All of those can stimulate activations. And of course, I would go home and then I would feel energy in my body and things would start to unlock. And then I would start to see that play out in my everyday life. And I was like, wow, so this is a thing. So here I am now taking people to Egypt. I would never have thought that I would be doing this because I thought so little of myself. But I am almost like the true example, if you want any proof at all, that what I am talking about with the Heka codes actually does indeed work. Take a look at me. Go back to the beginning, see where I was and see where I am now. And I'm not giving up yet. I mean, I'm not even started. There is so much more to come. So this formula, which I'm going to get into in the next stages, this formula, the Heka codes, is very, very potent when one is ready to step onto one's path. So, I mean, you're here, so that's a sacred yes. So in the next few sections of the video, what you're going to expect is a little bit more teaching, helping you break down the practicality on how the practical application of the energy stuff. Okay, so you can really understand it. And also you'll receive a powerful meditation activation, which will be pulling everything I speak about into a guided meditation activation, as I say, and you can listen to it again and again and again, because it will just unpack you more and more and more. As I say, this is just an introduction to the Heka codes, because the Heka codes is a full offering of 3 separate sessions. The power of 3 is very, very powerful. And I'm going to get into that just now. But this is the preempt to the Heka codes in the full experience. And then, of course, the next step beyond that, if you really, really want to have the full experience, we're going to Egypt. Every year I take my peeps to Egypt and we go and collect codes and we activate and we unpack and we discover what our true gifts and abilities are, because they're always upgrading. And we are then able to work as a conscious creator in a much higher aspect every single time. So that's what Egypt's all about. So I'm going to stop talking here. I'm going to get you to just come into your center a little bit, have a pen and a pad ready, because I'm now going to go into phase 2 of the teaching of the Heka codes. Once again, thank you for finding your way here. And I'm just really, really excited to have you in Egypt, because that's where we are right now, if you hadn't guessed. So the Heka codes, what are they for exactly? Okay, so I've gone into a little bit in my previous intro there, but I'm really going to go into it now of understanding what the Heka codes. Well, first of all, Heka is a formula of 3. Okay, and I'm going to go into that quite in depth now. So before I do that, I'm going to kind of offer up the more earthly understanding of what Heka is. Okay, so I'm always teaching about portals, pathways, and platforms. Okay, so a portal is when you give your sacred yes. Okay, so the portal now opens. So you are sat here right now. You've given your sacred yes. You've purchased the offering. Here you are, and you're watching this video and you're receiving from me. So that is a form of a sacred yes, because you're here. So the portal starts to open. Okay, so then if you want to liken it to conscious creation and working with the Heka codes and bringing the idea of you into the world and creating a crazy, mad, amazing project or something like that, like the portal will open, meaning what is the idea? What was your idea that you said to spirit, right, I'm going to come through and I'm actually going to bring a lot of light to this area of business or this area of the world, and I'm going to teach little children, or I'm going to be an artist, or I'm going to create my own oracle cards, or I'm going to be a writer, whatever it might be. There is a divine expression of you, and you have an idea that you want to bring through. Okay, so now with the sacred yes here, essentially you're saying, you're going, yeah, okay, I'm ready for that. So the portal now opens. So now we're connecting with spirit, and we are co-creating. So now the next stage is the pathway. Okay, so the pathway is now stage 2 of this, stage 2 of the formula. Pathway is, okay, so you have an idea, you have a good, feeling about it, that, like, for example, it could be that you want to create a ashram in India, and you're like, that's my calling. It's quite a big calling, but that's my calling. That's what I want to do. So what's required for that? Well, if I'm going to open an ashram, maybe I need to go and do some yoga teacher training. I mean, that would be a great place to start. Maybe I need to do some studies of scripture. Maybe I need to start working. If you might want to start working with social media people, or somebody who is, in the tour operation business, to bring people to your ashram. You see what I'm saying? There has to be some kind of like pathway in preparation to bring the idea through. So it's been divinely dropped in. There's the idea. So what's required now? What do I need to do to start to bring this idea into fruition? So that's the pathway. It may be that you need to move countries for something. It may be that you might need to go through a certain level of healing first before you can actually land in physical form what you're asking for. So you get the idea. So that's your pathway. All right. Then we land on the platform. So say you've got the idea in, you've opened the portal. You've now started to put systems in place, meaning you know how you're going to do it. Okay. And it's like you're preparing, and it might take a long time, short time, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're preparing. And then you're going to go to the platform, which is, what does that idea look like in the world? Okay. What is the end game? Now, a lot of people say there is no end game because everything is infinite. And absolutely, but I'm talking more practical terms here, because the issue that we've always been faced with, and I'm sure you can agree, because I have walked this path myself, I have been circling to land for eons. Okay. I get the idea. I get the inspiration. And then I'm going to do this. And sometimes I get so inspired that I sit there and I clog up like a blocked pipe, and I don't do anything because nothing can come through. And I found it difficult to land. Not anymore, because I got an idea, I had an inspiration. How am I going to put it out there? I did an Egypt tour, and there you go. Look, it didn't come with easefulness and flow. There was a lot of snot and tears behind the scenes, but that was my pathway part. I had to go through a lot of clearing, had to go through a lot of self-doubt, and I'm still working on that now. Nobody brings through any kind of project without being fearful. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a grounding factor, and we'll get to that a little bit deeper just now. But now we're on the platform part. So what does it look like in the world? And for example, it might be a bricks and mortar kind of building. It might look like a book, but let's talk about your ashram. So it actually is bricks and mortar. Okay, so you visualize that. So that now is, where is it going to go? You're going to do it in India, or you're going to do it in Bangladesh? I don't know. Where are you going to place that? So that's the physical aspect of what does it look like? Where is it? And that's the 3-stage process. So you have your portal, opening to the idea, clairaudience, clairsentience, whatever it is, comes in. Then you have the second stage, the pathway. How are you going to put it together? What needs to be prepared? Bit like digging up a garden. Do you have to like sort the earth out and do a bit of prep work before you plant your seeds? And then you land, your seeds grown, and now you have an actual structure. Now, that is your path, your portal, your pathway, and your platform, the 3 Ps. So let's take it up a level now. I want you to so we're going up into the stars. So in a way, what I've just given you there is the version of as below, because we're going to go so above. Yeah, you with me? So as above, so below. We're now going as above. So the other reflection of that is now Heka. Okay, because we need some magic, man, to bring this online. So now we want to work in the higher realms. Okay, so Heka. Let's start off with the portal version of Heka. So stage 1. There is a god called Sia, called Sia, and Sia is the god of perception, okay? The vision, This is where, because I'm all about visionaries and, having like owl eyes and hawk eyes. Now, seer is kind of that. Seer, God seer, would be the God that you tap into that will give you everything to do with like your spiritual gifts, everything to do with spirit. But it's also the vision. It's the idea. It comes here. That's how it comes in, right? So God seer is the energy that comes in first of all. Now, so that's your portal. So the second stage now is what we've just spoken about, is actually the pathway. Now we go into the energy of Egypt version. We go into Hu, H-U, the god Hu. He is the god of utterance. So he speaks the idea into being. So he is also to do with the throat chakra as well. You may use breath work to clear the blocks, to be able to bring that idea through. Also the god of utterance, Hu, you can also write, because in a way that's words, but written. So you start to really talk about your idea in a very powerful way through the throat chakra. Remember, throat chakra is all about creativity. So this is Hu, the god Hu. Speak it into being, right? Now we get to the platform. So what's the platform? Now this is where Heka comes in, because Heka is the god of magic and wisdom, and he's also the god of medicine. So here, you'll see Heka. You will see him on the hieroglyphs like so. Okay. Now, Heka, I'm not quite sure. Well, I am quite sure, actually. I'm pretty sure that he was never born from human. Okay. He was actually a god. He was a bit like Ma'at. Ma'at never came from like physical parents. Now, Ma'at is the goddess of justice and order and balance and all of that. And I know that Heka did not come from a physical being. He's just God Heka. He's the god of magic and medicine. Why does he need to be born through a human? You know what I mean? So anyway, but that's what he looks like. He looks human when you see him. Like, he's not like any of the other Egyptians where they're like half animal and half human. You'll see him like that. So that is Heka. Now, Heka is the platform, it's the magic and medicine. It is a combination of the other two. So you have Seer and you have Hu, and then you have Heka. Combined, boom, you bring your manifestation into physical form. And that is how the Egyptians used to work, with those three gods, okay? Ultimately, their focus would be on Heka, but you can understand the formula. The formula is a combination. We're talking alchemy here. And this is what you have to understand about yourselves. Now, you are very, very, very powerful alchemist. Okay. You know how to turn nothing into something. You know how to turn low energy into high energy. You know how to turn base metal into gold. You know how to do this. You know how to change energy and frequencies. You've just forgotten, but it's in there. And Heka is here to remind you of that innate wisdom and power that you have, right? So now to bring in a few gods to help you with this process, okay? So, well, first of all, let's honor Goddess Hathor, okay? Because I'm actually in her temple right now. And I'm going to move out the way a little bit. And you can see this is just stunning. I mean, obviously, I've been here many times when I've taken myself to Egypt in my groups. I've been here. So, and there's no windows. There's no nothing. This is kind of like quite interesting that I've chosen this as a background. Well, number one, let's just start off with Hathor. Hathor is the goddess. She's got the cow horns. She's one of the most evolved goddesses, even more so than Isis. Sorry, Isis, but she is. But like that is what Hathor looks like. She's got the cow horns, and she was the love interest of Horus, you know? So yeah, she's very powerful. Now, the other side to Hathor is Sekhmet. Okay, so they are two sides of the coin. And you'll find that in Egyptology, that you'll find like a lot of the gods are kind of like representations of each other, like two aspects. So first of all, let's talk about Hathor. What her ascended mastery is she is the goddess of sacred sexuality. She is a midwife. She was also the goddess of festivals, music, dance, astrology. She is creation. She is just love, the goddess of love. And she is very, very, very important part of my Egypt work, and especially my Egypt tour. So when you go and look at the tablets of light tour in the background, we are indeed, the video is actually of Temple Dendera. Dendera means light. And she is a complete embodiment of that. So I've been working with Hathor, and she's been bringing this through, because she's the goddess. She helps me create, you know. So this temple here is in her temple. This is like a tunnel way. And what used to happen was the high priests, and no doubt the high priestesses, used to come and sit in here, and they used to do a vision quest. And they obviously there's no lights in here. They might like trundle down with a little candle, but they would stay in here for a very, very, very long time, and it would be pitch black. And they would be in here for good reason, to actually really go in deep. And when any vision quest is all about kind of reaching to that next level of you and then bringing through new ideas, I mean, on a very big exponential way. But you'll be happy to know we can do it with the Hecka codes, and you don't have to sit in a tunnel for 40 days and 40 nights. But it's an option if you want it. You know what I mean? It's up to you. But yeah, quite interesting. So then the other side of Hathor, what happens when we create? We get super scared. There's always fear. We talk about like, oh my God, what if I'm seen? What if everybody looks at me? What if I get rejected? What if people laugh at what I bring out into the world? So if you're a facilitator, you know, and you're already out there, it's nerve-wracking. I know this because I do this. I hold ceremonies, I teach all the time. Even getting on a video blog can be actually nerve-wracking. But now all of a sudden you're being asked to step it up and bring out something new. It doesn't matter whether you haven't created something or you have been creating. Either way, the fear is the same, you know, because we all hold these energies of fear of rejection, fear of ridicule, you know, fear of being seen. So, of course, the other side of Hathor is Sekhmet. Now, Sekhmet is the lion goddess. She's quite scary, very, very, very powerful. And she's all about turning fear into courage. And she's been one of my most powerful guides, because essentially, when we work with these gods and goddesses, they are not separate of us. Like Sekhmet says, do not worship me, I am you. Okay, so there's an embodiment process that we must understand that comes with the Egyptian gods and goddesses. They want us to acknowledge and understand and access our Thoth frequency, our Sekhmet frequency, our Hathor frequency, because we're all one. So we don't want to be going into separation spirituality and going there to bring in Hathor. You are Hathor. So this is Sekhmet here. This beautiful tattoo I have here is kind of like a map. So this is Sekhmet here, closest to my heart. So she is always working with me because she works with the fire when I get very scared about going out there and being seen. And believe it or not, I do. And I work with her, and she uses the fire to transmute, and we get our lion's roar. Like I say, Sekhmet is the other side to Hathor. So you have this creator goddess, all about womb energy and everything like that. Even if you're a dude, you have like an energetic womb, you know, you do. So you have Hathor help you create something and birth something. And then you have Sekhmet on the other side, just in case you get a little bit scared of bringing that birthing process through to fruition, right? So all of this is very, very relevant, you know? So now going back to portals, pathways, and platforms. Heka is, the Heka codes is the god who is seer, vision, hue, utterance, speak it into being, and then Hecka, magic and medicine, culmination of the whole lot. Okay, so now you can understand the formula. So when we come in to create, it's so much more helpful, isn't it? Is it not, that we have a template to work with? And when we have that kind of understanding that we have 3 sections, okay, to work with, it's going to better help us organize our energy and focus and channel when it comes to bringing this forward. Now, in the next section, I'm going to be talking about, you know, other ways that you can take this really onto the next level. But I'm just going to talk a little bit here now about where you can ascertain where the blocks are. So I'm going to share with you about the triangle. So think about the Great Pyramid. All right. So 3 points. Okay, so 3 points. It doesn't have to be 3 points. I just always tend to go to the Great Pyramid. You could just have 3 titles. Okay, and when you work with this formula, okay, and you work with the guided meditation activation in bringing through your idea, when you work with it, you might find that you get a bit sticky somewhere. So you might find that when you go into the portal process, you might find that you're finding it really difficult to give your sacred yes, and you find it oh, there's a little bit something going on in my energy. That means that you're scared of coming out. So we just need to rewind a little bit and just stay with Sia. Just stay with Sia and ask Sia, and work with your other guides as well, the other gods and goddesses, and ask, like, why can't I bring through, where's the blocks here? They're going to give you a big clue. Or you have the idea and it's like through, and you've got the vision and it's no problem. You've got journals for days with these wonderful ideas. But then when you go to actually kind of like create it and put a bit of a practical system in place, which is usually where it happens, I'm really blocked. So you might find that you have the idea, you have the vision of what it looks like in the physical world, but this bit in the middle needs work. Or you may have the vision, you may have put all your systems in place, but now you just can't seem to fire it off and land it into physical form to push. So we have to look at those areas of concern, right? We have to, or here's another example. You could have gone through the whole 3 processes, okay? And you could have landed your project and it's fallen to pieces. And you're like, but I don't know why that didn't work. So I'm now going to bring in the temple energy, even though it's not a temple, it's actually a portal, actually, the Great Pyramid. I'm going to bring in the medicine of the Great Pyramid now, calling her up front and center. And we're going to ask her to just come into this space. And also as well, just know about the temples. They all have their own heartbeat. So that's why I work with the temples in Egypt just as much as I work with the gods and goddesses and any other beings. So the Great Pyramid is a great teacher. So, she has been built and she is still standing the test of time. She's still there. She's got no signs of crumbling, let me tell you, because I've been in there lots and there's no signs of crumbling. And she tells us that a strong foundation in your creations must be your legacy that you are building to leave for others to find after you're gone. What is that? Is it strong? Is it powerful? And if it is not, then what has gone wrong in the creative process? What is missing? So go back to the idea, go back to the portal, go back to Sia and say, hey, what's going on here? Like, sit and meditate, channel, find out where the block is. Or it may be that the idea is absolutely splickety-nick and it's amazing. There's something wrong with your creative process. And like me, when I've created projects, I'm not thinking big enough. And the reason they may not have kind of been as powerful as they're supposed to be and they've been a bit wobbly, I've had to go back and go, oh, I'm not looking at the bigger picture. There's actually more. And that comes from just looking at yourself from a small little human being. So, all of this stuff that I'm sharing with you are just ideas to understand where is the breakdown in communication. Okay, so you can use the Heka codes in a very, very powerful way. Even use your pendulum. Okay, so you could do a beautiful oracle card and write your one thing that represents Sia, one that represents Hugh, and one that represents Heka. And you could use your pendulum and work with the gods and yourself and just, get your team together and go, right, okay, well, what's going on here? Where's the block? So you see, this is a very, very powerful way for you to unpack and get practical with it. And don't be scared. You've got this. So going back to the Great Pyramid, she is always a divine reflection for me. And I teach with her all the time that, she's a receiver and she's a transmitter. So your business being of light, your creation, okay, needs to be exactly that. It needs to transmit the highest frequency and the highest, most powerful message, and it must receive as well. So it has to be of the highest vibration. So that means you've got to be of the highest vibration. It's okay. You're ready to step up. You can do that now, and also as well, she is a portal because her ultimate purpose is actually astral traveling. So, this is where we go into back to the beginning, which is the portal. You can even work with the Great Pyramid and maybe just visualize walking into the pyramid, going to lie down in the sarcophagus. Use her magic. She'll take you places, So there's so many different ways that we can work with the Egyptian energies, and it's just play. We get tangled up with too much mind stuff of thinking it's a way harder than what it actually is, but it is not. So I hope you've been taking notes as I've been breaking down the 3 components to what the Heka codes actually are. So with that, I'm now going to just go into, I'm going to go into the next stage on just explaining to you, once you've landed your idea, where you can go to on the next level, not to overwhelm, just to give you vision, just to give you insight that it's infinite. You will constantly be creating, but for teaching purposes right now, for us to just get out the floodgates, I am focusing on one idea with one formula. for you to help bring that through. Okay, so let this all settle, take a beat, and I'll see you on the next section when I can speak properly. So, where to now? So you've done your meditation, okay? You've done your activation. You've received the frequencies and the energies. Lots has come through. When you do this meditation and activation, always have your pen and your pad right next to you, because when you receive really, really high vibrational guidance, it will evaporate very quickly. Okay, so it'll be there and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then as soon as you come out of your meditation and your activation, it will evaporate and you would have received it, but you want to get more practical with the guidance and kind of take the notes down as soon as you come out of the journey. So when you do this meditation and activation, let me tell you, every time you do it, it will take you deeper and deeper and deeper. Because what I am channeling, I'm bringing through that pure frequency. And that is going to be something that is always forever moving, because energy is always moving, right? So where every time you listen to it, you're going to hear something different, okay? And something else is going to unlock. I don't suggest that you do the meditation like every day, just maybe every few days, or go do the meditation, get a lot of guidance through, go run with that, go play with that, take your notes. Think about the idea, because let's face it, you may be doing this meditation and activation and not know exactly what your idea is. So at this stage, it might take you a long time to work with this offering here, the Hecka codes. Brilliant. Awesome. Do it. Amazing. Because then you're going to just do the meditation and just bring the idea through and just go at your own pace. So that's the stage you're working at. You may be in the pathway stage. So you may already have your idea and you just want to kind of like work on that middle section of kind of getting your ducks in a row. So you understand that this receiving in the meditation is going to do all sorts of things in different ways at different times, basically. So take your notes, make a journal, honor this experience, because if you are really, truly serious about being a conscious creator, more conscious than you've ever been, and you're ready to do this, then open up, be ceremonial about it. Open up a book, open up your own journal, and then start to record your experiences. It's like anything. When I tell people, do you want to connect with Isis? Do you want to work with her energies a lot more deeper? Do you want to work with Sekhmet? If you really want to embody a god or goddess energy, or any frequency at all, you pitch up every day and you work with them every day and you write your experiences down every day. And let me tell you, where the magic actually kicks in is not really in the meditation, because you download all the information. It's in your being. It's activating all of that knowledge and wisdom you already have within you. Remember, it's not about learning. It's about remembering. Okay. Then when you're driving the car, you'll be like, oh my God, or you'll have like a flashback, or you'll have a conversation with somebody, or just say, hey, have you read this book? Or you might get an idea just by watching something on the TV. It comes to you in so many different ways, which is why you got to have that journal down and next to you, because it's going to start unfolding. So it takes a level of commitment and awareness. Don't miss a thing. When you ask for spirit's help, it's there. 150%. And the only reason we don't think it's there is because we've switched off our awareness. Okay. So maybe give yourself a 4-week commitment or a 21-day commitment and just say, every day, I'm going to work on my Hecka codes and I'm going to use this as a fun project, make it fun, and just say, right, this is my focus. Let's just see what happens here. I've got nothing to lose, everything to gain, So that's my advice with the meditation and activation. Now, the next thing is, where do you go from here? Now, my work is basically taking you to that next level. I do not believe that any of us should be going back to the same teacher, books, courses, or whatever, because basically once you know, you can't unknow. And then away you go. We are all now in the same position where the frequencies are so high. We are all recognizing ourselves as powerful conscious creators. whether you think you are or not, it's happening. It is happening. You know, since the last 2 years, we've all recognized ourselves that, like, you know, we don't want to work in a 9 to 5. And that happened for good reason, because we needed to understand that we can be entrepreneurs. We can work the hours you want to work. You can do exactly what you want to in this life. And more importantly, we can do it together. So many different ways that you can go. Like, if you want to go deeper now, obviously we have the Hecka codes, which is the full experience. And that is a session, 3 sessions. So what you're experiencing now, what does that look like? That will be, it's like a mentorship session, and you'll have session 1, 2, and 3. And of course, 1 will be working with the vision, Sia. 2 will be working with, like, how we bring that into being, speak it into being, how we create the pathway. And the 3rd session is all about the Hecka magic, making it pop. And that kind of like they come in sessions of 3. Okay. And it's very, very powerful, because 3 is the magic number. I mean, it's 3 is creation, you know? So that is basically what the Hecka codes is. This is just a little dab in. So the Hecka codes will come with 3 different activations, because there'll be 3 different sessions. So there is somewhere that you can actually expand into much deeper. And all I'm doing is passing the baton, activating what you already you've got going on inside, because you've got unique set of codes that I can't do what you do. You can't do what I do. We got to get to that understanding, right? And then when you do, and your toolbox, your power toolbox is open, you are away, you know? And then I want to talk about the tablets of light, because these are tours to Egypt, and they're not just tours. This is the ultimate in the activation of your true self. Okay. When you come off that tour, you will never be the same again, because I was never the same again when I went on that tour, ever. I mean, I went there and I like literally walked through a portal, and here I stand doing this. I never thought this was possible. Egypt gifted me, and she will do exactly the same to you, for you, through me. So my work actually works with the conscious creators. We start working before we even go to Egypt. So in a way, it's like a really, really powerful, it's like a spiritual activation into your creative abilities, bringing it into physical form. That's what it's all about. And of course, I weave all of my teachings and my methods and my tools all the way through Egypt. We activate the temples in you. You come out of the tour, and then we work even more. Like, we go now in even further. What was your experience in Egypt all about? How do we ground that and make it into a physical plan? And then I'm able to feed you, if it is indeed a business, a being of light, or it's some kind of creative project. We have, like I say we, because I have a team of Starseed Sisterhood and Brotherhood that I work with. We are all part of one big family. And this is about you finding your tribe now. So once you do that, then all of a sudden your creative abilities are supported and your creative endeavors are supported, because you're working with your soul tribe. You are sharing your stuff with the people that get it, because they're part of your tribe, and your tribe is massive. So that is a very, very important understanding, though. Where are we going with all these creation codes? What's the point of going to Egypt? What's the point of doing a ceremony with Marie or whatever? What's the point of any of it? The point is that it's a pathway to getting you to where your family is. We're all looking for each other. So once we have that, then you're going to find that all of this arduous, like stuck and it's actually about being with your people, and then being supported by that particular soul family, as I say, is massive. And then you will just see that alone will start to unlock. So there's so much more down the line, which needs your attention, and which is actually waiting for you, which is what I'm kind of like opening the door for you. And the way I know this is because I searched for this this life, and I have actually, this is what I came to know. I found my soul family. We're becoming more and more and more. We all have these divine genius gifts, and we have people with social media, the people that do websites, other people that bring frequency in that can help you with a conscious creator as well. We just become this really, really big formula. So there's way more beyond this. So this is the closing of the teaching video. And I just want to add one more thing in, okay? If you are a lover of cacao, like me, my ceremonies, if we ever are in the physical space with one another, even if it's in Egypt, I hold cacao ceremonies, and the cacao ceremonies are divine and wonderful in bringing these creator codes online. And I also work with the blue lotus, which is lotus flower of Egypt, which is very Hathor as well. And this heart healer, because let's face it, if our hearts are closed, we can't create anything. So, you know, one day our paths might pass and we will be in ceremony together. And I look forward to that day. But never be despondent, because what can you do now? You can make yourself some cacao, maybe have your own ceremony, talk to the mama cacao, the spirit cacao, ask her to bless her, open your heart, assist you, guide you as you go into this beautiful meditation you're going to receive. And, you know, she will hold space for you. And mama cacao has done an awful lot for me. So I'm just sharing all of my little tools, my little experiences, my little aha moments, well, big ones actually. And I'm just sharing my formula with you. So anyway, I just wish you love and light on this journey you're about to take. And I look forward to working with you with the Heka codes. And I look forward to working with you in Egypt. And I look forward to just working with you in general, because you're receiving this magic now. So thank you very much for coming here, hearing the call. Love and light.